The first one I want to talk about is moral decay. What is moral decay? Well, moral decay is basically we don't know the difference between what good and bad is anymore. Right? It's a society that's failing because we've taken out principles and values out of it. Right? So I try to analyze everything around me, and moral decay is everywhere. And the reason why moral decay is happening around America and around the world so rapidly, and mainly in America, because other countries I can't even speak about them first because I don't live there, but I can speak about America because I grew up here and I understand it. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is we took religion out of the classrooms, we took them out of the household. People no longer pray anymore whenever there's difficulty. They tend to fall on their own knowledge on how to solve things, and that can cause massive chaos, right? Because we no longer have a force to be submissive to. We don't have a force to look forward to, right? So if I need help with something, it's like a kid that needs help. They're going to go to their parent. But when you're an adult and you're older, you don't really want to go towards your parent, right? You want to go towards God, because God is the difference between good and bad. He teaches us what's good and what's bad, right? So we took religion out of the classrooms, we took them out of the household, and all frankly, they got replaced with this LGBTQXYZW whatever movement, because as you can see what's going on around us, people don't longer talk about God in school. Instead, they will talk about how it's okay to transform from a woman to a man and a man to a woman. They talk about it's allowed to have 150 genders. If you want to be labeled as a monkey, a goat, if you woke up as a goldfish this morning, you can be a goldfish. So that causes an immense amount of confusion for these kids, as you can think about. And they don't tell us this information. And well, they do. They tell adults about this information, but we know we're not a goldfish. We know we're not a vampire. We know we're not dinosaurs. We're humans, man or woman. You pick. But kids, they don't know, right? And what happens is, as a parent, you don't get to spend 24/7 of your time with your kids. And this is why I tell parents it's very important to be careful what your kids watch on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, and on whatever social media platform. Because when you're not on top of them watching what they are watching, you got to remember the media is programming them to believe what they want them to believe. And the media is the one pushing this LBGTQWXYZ movement to these kids. So that's where they're getting their values and their principles from Instagram, Twitter, and that's the biggest mistake you can make as a parent. Right? So this is causing moral decay in our society because there's an immense amount of confusion. Right? Whenever we feel angry and upset, we have nowhere to release that energy to. You can release it to God back in the day, but now they release it towards the schools. That's why you see mass shootings. That's why you see riots in the streets. That's why you see chaos in the street, robbing. Because America is a failing society because the moral decay. And I don't know what causes, if it's politics, if it's the left versus the right. One just wants to be right no matter what it takes. Who knows? Right? But all I know is that you got to control what you have control of. And you got to remember, it's going to be very difficult because you only really spend 4 or 5 hours of the day with your child. So you got to remember, and during those 4 or 5 hours, you got to try to put so much value in them as much as you can during that time. Really spend time with them. Because while they're at school, they're getting programmed by their teachers, and you don't know if these teachers are getting programmed by the LGBTQ, and your teachers are the ones teaching your kids that. Because they spend how many hours at school? And as soon as you get home and you pick up your kid, you're already tired from work, so you don't have time to spend on your kid, and they're out there with their iPad because that's what's easy for you. But that's the mistake. Don't give them the iPad. Teach them value. Teach them, did you do your homework? Take them out for a walk. Talk to them about God. Bring God back in the picture, because it does help. Whether you believe in God or not, whatever your religion is, if it's Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, we all need God in our picture. We need something we can be submissive to a higher power, because it helps us, right? Because when we feel angry and upset, we can release that energy towards something and pray when there's difficulty, instead of going to go do school shootings, for example, right? So that's the one concept I wanted to teach you, and it's moral decay.